Casual Magic has been sponsored by Quiver, maker of the Quiver and Bolt deck cases and other fine deck holding accessories. Use the code CASUAL on their website for 10% off your order. You can also support Casual Magic directly by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/ShivamB. And now, on with the show. Hello and welcome to Casual Magic, the show where we talk about the fun side of Magic the Gathering. My name is Shivam Bhatt, and Casual Magic is brought to you by Quiver and my patrons at patreon.com/ShivamB. Today, I'm actually really excited to have one of my very old friends and also one of the most, popular podcasters in terms of entertainment and fun time media, at least in terms of folks I know just ambiently telling me about shows that they listen to without knowing who I know. The co-host of Talking Simpsons, Henry Gilbert. Hey, friend, it's been so long since we got to hang out and talk. And I was like, I saw that you were getting into Magic, and I'm like, perfect, I have an excuse.
Yes. No, hey, it's great to talk to you too. And I of course, only talk to people if they have a podcast. That's
It is the content creator's dilemma, right? Like, oh, we're having a normal conversation. Could we tape this?
Yes, yeah. I visit Los Angeles for a vacation. I go like, well, I could have lunch with a friend, but we should just do a podcast. Like, that's what am I wasting time on if it's not being recorded? Thank you very much for the invite. Once we started following each other on Blue Sky again, it was a reconnection in the post Twitter world to me.
Yeah, that has been the worst part about like the exodus from Twitter, has been losing all of these decades of friendships and acquaintances that we've just built up, because like we all scattered to the wind, and then when trying to find each other again is very hard, right? Like it's just been weird. Like people who were mutuals with you forever and ever and ever are just like on Mastodon or on, I don't know, Thread or Hive or whatever. The Hive, remember Hive for 10 seconds?
Man, that was like a set. Yeah, I mean, I even like Threads will still occasionally ping me of like, we still exist. Like, we're Threads. Like, come on. Threads, actually, the weirdest thing is Threads algorithm learned that I only click on Threads if like a famous person has died. So it just shows me like somebody died. Hey, RIP, but it'll hide who has died. And so I just click on it.
That is so annoying.
Yes.
It's like, yes, lots of people die. It happens.
Yes.
That's part.
Yes.
I don't know. It's like I've started to use Instagram, but I don't take pictures of things and I don't make videos except for like this. And so I don't know what I would even do on Instagram. But that's where like all the cool guests and stuff are. I'm like, if I want to get like figure skaters on my podcast, I have to go to Instagram. But that being said, though, you know what? Like I've gotten to show up on Talking Simpsons, and I've talked to you guys, I think, on What a Cartoon even once, maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But like that show is so cool. Like just in terms of like, because like it was weird. A few years ago, my son got hardcore into The Simpsons, and he was like 10 or 11. So I was like, okay, you're about the age Simpsons. And it's all on Disney. So he literally marathoned 28 seasons or whatever in 2 months. And I'm like, that is too much Simpsons.
That is, I mean, from my own childhood, I am jealous of kids like your son, because when I grew up, I had to tape it off TV all of the time, and it took a lot of work to be able to marathon The Simpsons. And now every kid can just make it like a summer project to be like, I'm going to just watch 800 episodes of The Simpsons all summer. Yeah.
And it was so wild because he would be bringing up stuff and like characters and ideas and concepts as if they were contemporary, even though for me, it's like, I watched that when I was younger than you. You know, it's like, I saw that episode in 1989. I don't remember anything about it. It's crazy. And like watching it all in one is like force feeding yourself a cotton candy machine, and you're like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, I do wonder with younger people who watch it, and it fascinates us, and why we try to have guests who are not just age compatriots of ours.
Yeah, right.
To just say like, well, what was Simpsons to you? If the Simpsons when you were 10 was season 14 or like even season 20, like where's the classic era for you? Like how do you feel about a controversial episode of season 11 when it's equal to any other episode of being old?
Right. Yeah, like that was the thing. Like when I think about like, oh yeah, the episodes that are iconic to me, like Inanimate Carbon Rod or whatever, and like Monorail, and I'm like, which ones matter to you? And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess I saw those somewhere in the mass of Simpsons episodes. And I guess when it's just one undifferentiated yellow strand of Simpsons, you don't really have like, it's so weird to think about these things outside of linear progression of time in terms of like, because like shows like Simpsons or even Magic, because I've been playing for 30 years and I run into this because I talk to people who are like, yeah, I started playing 2 weeks ago, or like you started with Final Fantasy or whatever. And I'm thinking about like, oh yeah, I look at a card and I can see where it was in history, the progression, where the development was, how these things evolved. I can watch an episode of Simpsons and think of the pop culture that surrounded it, or who was the president or whatever. But when you're just taking it in as one big undifferentiated mass and you have no cultural context, that is, I don't know how that you would even approach that. Like, what does any of this mean if you're just looking at it as raw data?
Yes, I think it's one of the things we love to do on Talking Simpsons, me and Bob Mackey, when we started it, is we wanted to like pick up where the commentaries leave off. Like that's like where we begin. And also it's so much about like context or having fun explaining to people, or we hear back from people that they're like, oh, I never knew this joke. Let's say in the episode Burns' Heir, where Bart is adopted by Mr. Burns, the scene of Mr. Burns greeting everybody from the on the big movie screen. If you lived in 1992, you'd remember that the trailers for the Robin Williams film Toys looked like that. But yeah, who else? Like that's not, Toys is not a known movie, and nobody remembers the trailers for it. So it's explaining stuff like that is part of the fun of the podcast.
Yeah, or like who shot Mr. Burns, right? Like that was a thing that took over pop culture for like the entirety of multiple months. And for my son, it's like literal 30 seconds between who shot him to, oh no, he got shot and we know now, right? And it's like you miss the entirety of like how much that took over society to try to figure out what happened. And like, wow, that's wild. That is so wild.
I also love another thing I love and discovered through doing the show is that to get to see the viewpoints of people outside of the U.S. who also, even if they're our age compatriots, like we've had on Irish guests who just one instance that like they would watch The Simpsons over satellite TV, and for one thing, this is just an overall format deal, is that the commercials would not be, they'd have one center commercial. So how we even take it as a 3-act show, they do it as a 2-act show with the dramatic break for a commercial at a completely different point because of how it was edited to fit in commercials on their channels.
That, you know what, I watched one of my favorite Chinese dramas I ever saw. It was this show called Bromance, and it was made to be a 60-minute show in Taiwan, and on Netflix on America they put it at 90 minutes for some reason, which means that you would see like the episode and it would come to an end, and then you would see like half of the next episode, and it's like, that's a weird place to cut the show in the middle of a conversation, like just slam dunk, and it's not even like a well thought out break. It was just like, what are you doing? Like re-editing a show like that is a very weird, it's like it changes the flow process completely. Like, I mean, we watch a lot of anime and you see that there's the bumper with the little character that comes up and it breaks, and you're like, that's where the show is supposed to break. Here's the part 1, here's the part 2. And we watch it in America on after school TV, and it's like, here's random commercial breaks wherever we feel like.
Yes. Yeah. Though growing up with like one of the earliest US viewers who got to see unedited anime that you could like buy on a VHS. Yes. That was another, at least for me, and I think for Bob too, I loved the Animego VHS releases and DVDs of especially Urusei Yatsura. That was one of my favorites. I got like toys up there, and the liner notes they had in there were so great that would just say, because there would be impenetrable jokes culturally if you not just weren't Japanese, but weren't Japanese in 1983.
Right.
That's like, if you watch but if you read along the liner notes, they say, well, this is a reference to this commercial that was big, or this guy who just won the World Series in Japan.
Yes.
You needed that info, and I loved learning that kind of information.
So recently, Viz has started putting out this manga, which is called Destroy All Humans, They Can't Be Regenerated, which is a few years ago's Japanese manga that's basically about Magic the Gathering. But it's about Magic the Gathering circa 1997 or like 1997, 98. And they're all in the throes of Y2K, like the world is going to end in the year 2000. What do we do? And it's all full of references to 1998 Japan and Magic. And so like you look there and the characters are saying stuff, but Viz, in all of their glory for once in their life, they did an amazing thing. And they put a lengthy contextual like set of like footnotes in the back of the book. So they're like, here, he's referencing this specific, like, oolong tea commercial where the person goes, ra-ta-ta. And you're like, what a deeply, deeply narrow reference point that would have probably been iconic for anybody who grew up in Japan in 1998. And like having that show up there. And then also like, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's a very sweet comic. And it's also got really great like explanations of how to play the game. So it's like, but it's just really well done. Like if like my wife can read it and she doesn't play Magic, and the liner notes are like, this means that you're summoning a creature that's going to attack them. And I'm like, oh, this is so good. Wow. I miss it when people like put context.
I could use, yes, I could have used that. I do want to check that out. I love, like, Viz has some great collections. I mainly now, when I think of Viz, I was just reading one of my favorites in that style is the Naoki Urasawa comic 20th Century Boys, which is also about basically being like a Gen X or boomer in Japan. Like if you if you remember the 66 Osaka World's Fair or whatever like that. And so it constantly references pop songs, like not American ones, because it's named after the T-Rex song 20th Century Boys, but it's also references pop songs that were big in the 60s and 70s in Japan. And
oh god,
they have like an asterisk and that says what's playing in this scene is this song, and I liked reading along with it to then find the song that usually doesn't even have an English thing for it on YouTube. You have to search for it in its Japanese name, but finding it and listening to it while reading the scene, like and
then you're like, oh, I get it now. But yeah, I love that. I think like I'm a big fan of having contextual understanding of why things are happening and why it's cool, because like that gives you flavor, and like it also makes things just unique and interesting. And but yeah, since this technically is about Magic, and it's funny because like I call it casual Magic in that it's casually about Magic. That's just what like the hook I use to get people on, and then I talk about whatever I feel like. But I'm curious because like I've known you for a long time, and like I've never seen you get interested in Magic. How did you get into Magic?
It is a funny story. I am it is a partner brings you into it kind of deal as well. Some of my background is that I was going to comic shops all of the time when Magic began. Like I was reading Wizard magazine and seeing ads for Magic and other TCGs as they were getting big in the stores. Like I could have, if I go back in time and tell myself like buy some packs of the first edition that you're walking right by, I would do it. But yes, it always seemed too complicated. But also, I really think it is like the lore. It just didn't pull me in. I wasn't the fantasy version of it. Like I had friends who would play tabletop RPGs and as like D&D, and this was the era of AD&D and advanced D&D, and then it just always seemed so complicated to me. I got much more into for tabletop. My big one was World of Darkness, Vampire, Werewolf, Mage. Like we played that because it was simpler and it took place now, and you could act like a goth angry person a lot of the time.
Yes,
that was part of the fun too.
I'm obfuscating.
Exactly. Oh, celerity. Time to use. Can't touch me. Yes, all that stuff. But I think I hate to sound basic, but it was another reason. Like I didn't get into like miniatures until the one time I really got into miniatures was when WizKids launched HeroClix, because it was the superheroes, and especially was Marvel guys can fight DC guys, because they would make DC and Marvel.
Because they had them all. You could sit there and play with it. And even like Mech Warrior, they had them in there.
Yeah.
I played a lot of HeroClix.
I spent a lot of money on HeroClix, and I felt extra dumb when I moved out of an apartment like 4 apartments ago. I just like, am I really going to sell these on eBay, or do I just need to close my eyes and throw these away? Like I can't, and I just did that and just moved on. I just had to let it go. Yes, but
yeah, like I had all of my D&D minis when 4th edition came out, and they made these little miniature game that you could play, and I had like boxes and boxes of them, and I'm like, these are really big and heavy. And then one of my friends, Luis Scott Vargas, who's like literally the best Magic player of all time, but also went to Davis, and he was like, yeah, I'm getting into D&D with my kids. I'm like, here's a bunch of minis boxes. Just happy birthday. I'm never going to think about it again. And he traded me like 2 cards from like Alpha. He's like, here's some cards that I know you'll really appreciate. And I'm like, great. I have cards I like, and I don't have these gigantic boxes of minis. Happy birthday. I didn't even realize how valuable they were until later on. I was looking at eBay, and I'm like, oh, I gave you like thousands of dollars worth of plastic.
Right. No, yeah. I and if I want to go crazy, I can think about all I threw away on that day. But I mentioned that too, just to say that, like, yes, what I am is a big comic book nerd, especially if like the Marvel characters are above DC to me, but I love them both. But also really followed the writers and the artists and all that. And so I haven't been a weekly comic reader in about 10 years. I'll also admit that too. So it does take, it's not just they put Spider-Man in a box and I'll buy it, because there's lots of things I don't do that for. But I liked in HeroClix that it could express the characters well through the gameplay. And when I understood Magic and saw what they were doing with Spider-Man first in that set, as my husband could explain to me, that's when I saw that it was also, I felt, expressing the character of Spider-Man well in the cards. And that did give me like the hook to latch onto.
Wait, you're saying that Spider-Man is the set that you came in with?
Well, no, it was okay. The timeline would go. My husband, much bigger into Magic than me. He started in 09. He gave me his own little timeline so I can get it right here. He said he started in 09 with the Alara block, and then his favorite colors are Naya. And so,
good taste.
He's been in and out for years, but he really got back in during lockdown, and he really wanted to share it with me. And I told him I always found like the rules just impenetrable, and I don't like learning new rules sometimes, especially the need to tell you like, actually you can't do that. I was like, well, I don't want to be told. I don't like that. I can play games that I'm not corrected in all the time. So and he tried with there were it was the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Like he's like, well, this is like Japanese. You like in Cyberpunk,
one of the best sets ever.
and he tried, but I was like, I don't want to learn. I love Lord of the Rings. He tried with that, and I was just like, I don't know. But what helped him was Marvel Snap came out, and I really like that was it got me. And it was a simpler card game I could get into. And then he's like, well, if you like that, you're going to like this Spider-Man set. And you also like Final Fantasy. So to get you ready for the Spider-Man set, let's really learn this Final Fantasy set. And was the first pre-release I did was Final Fantasy last year. So.
Okay, so there's like layers to what you just said there, which is kind of crazy. Like, so Marvel Snap, the creator of Marvel Snap, Bren Brode, is a former Hearthstone dev, but he's also a hardcore Magic player, and I've played with him before. Incredibly good, incredibly cool guy. And like, he designed a very good, quick game with Marvel Snap. Like, that game is... like, I played it for a little bit, but I'm not a Marvel person. So I was just like, okay, well, this is interesting. And then it got to like, having to collect skids and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I've gotten what I'm going to get out of this, but I appreciate what's doing. And I was like, this is going to hook a lot of people because it's such a quick and easy experience. And then it gets you into the idea of cards and whatever. But like, it's funny that like, so Magic has had this weird identity crisis of we've got our own lore and our own like canon for 20 years. And then they started doing these things called Universes Beyond, where they start bringing in other licenses because, you know, when I was 13, we were like, what would it be like if Goku versus Ryu in the Magic game? Right. And now it's like, well, what if we gave you that?
Yes, yeah.
But like Lord of the Rings.
Yes, no, yeah, it's my husband constantly shows me like here's the Godzilla card, here's the Garfield card, here's Sonic. Yes, I've seen that.
Right.
Yes.
Like, yeah, but like Lord of the Rings was like their first big, like, we're going to make a set and we're going to do this. And it was awesome. It was really, really well received and super fun and insanely popular. But like, if you don't like Lord of the Rings, it's still just more elves and magic users, whatever. Final Fantasy ended up being one of the best sets they've ever made because it took them like 8 years to design. And the people who were making it were diehard Final Fantasy fans. And for one thing, Square gave them actual support. Like, they're like, here, you can talk to every team. And like the Final Fantasy 3 guys, like, oh my God, somebody wants to know I exist. You know?
Oh, yeah.
But like that, it was so well designed and balanced that hardcore Magic players who don't care about Final Fantasy were like, this is hella fun. And Final Fantasy fans were like, I just want to get all the cool cards. Oh my God, this is a fun game to play on top of that. So it ended up being like the biggest home run they've ever had in terms of just like, because like I'm a Final Fantasy guy through and through. And when you look at like how they did summons, for instance, you're like, this is the smartest thing ever. They come into play, they do a couple effects and they leave. It's just like a summon.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. No, I love how another one I love is how 6 is one of my favorites, like all-time favorites, and how the way Terra works, that she can play, that she can summon from the graveyard, like pull them out of the graveyard, like as in she's reawakening Esper. She transforms like she can
exactly
as an Esper, like, or how materia works like materia, and it can instantly be attached sometimes. Like, it was. My husband made a Una deck for Commander because he loves how Una's summon works, just like in FF10.
I made a Furion deck because like it just ended up being like, oh, you put an equipment out and then it clones it and now you get 2 equipments. So I'm like, oh, this is hella fun. And all the equipment in the Final Fantasy set comes with a guy. So you get 2 guys and the guys stay even if the equipment doesn't. But that let me do things like I've got now Knuckles running around with the Buster Sword wearing like Fallout gear. And it's like true Magic fans are just like dying slowly. And I'm like, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, I feel that was one thing I was almost afraid to come on a Magic broadcast, because I am, and I know I've now engaged with enough Magic content. Like one of my favorite channels I watch is the professor on the Tolarian Community College, and I understand he explains very well what is frustrating about Universes Beyond and how it takes over things or takes over spots, and especially Marvel is especially controversial. I've been a hardcore in so many other spaces that I feel for the hardcores of, noobs like me coming in and just finally Spider-Man has a card now. Like, I get it.
So the Spider-Man set was interesting because like everybody after Final Fantasy and Lord of the Rings, everybody was like, okay, you guys have earned my respect. Let's see where you go with this. I was hesitant, but I get it now. Let's see. And Spider-Man like Edge of Eternities came out after Final Fantasy. It was an incredibly good set, but it was curtailed because Spider-Man had come right out right after. And Spider-Man, from a enfranchised player's perspective, is one of the worst sets of all time. In terms of just like the gameplay was very limiting, and there were 600 characters named Spider-Man. They were all spiders, and they're all men, and they're all like, I don't know what's going on. And Wizards made some very strange choices, like, because Marvel Snap owned the digital licensing for all of Spider-Man and stuff, the arena ones were all weird characters that we just made up that are just in Spider-Land. And so all told, it ended up just being this weird, like, Ouroboros collapse onto itself of just like, I am out completely. But the individual card designs were really cool. So like, and it was a very easy set. So if you were just brand new to the game, you're like, damn, dude, I can web sling in. I get what that means. This is cool.
Yes.
What was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, I enjoyed it in pre-release. I liked it in pre-release too, but I also, it is hard to, I never see it in arena. I almost never see any of the cards in arena. I see a few now, I think, actually. And I should say I play arena a lot. Like that actually kind of replaced Snap for me. But yeah, no, in person, I did, like, as an expression of Spider-Man stuff, I actually liked being at the pre-release events, like playing against somebody, and I like pull out anti-venom, and after the match is over and I've lost probably because I'm still very new. I explain like, well, the reason anti-venom like gets all of this is because it is a cured venom symbiote that can now take back health and heal people, and so that's also why he gets counters when he takes damage like that. Or I can explain why Path to Exile works for this image on the cover here, or even just name the issue number that they're pulling from. For it, you know,
that I love that, because like I even when even with comics, I'm like an X-Men guy. I'm not, and I've never liked Spider-Man just as a character. I don't know, maybe just as a weak nerd, I was like, this guy's a dweeb, and I don't need me in this book. I don't like you. But like, I was just looking at like, I couldn't understand all these things. But then I remember I went to a Magic convention right after Spider-Man had come out, when everybody was kind of grumbly about it. And I met an older man who had been like, he must have been like 20 years older than me or something. And he was in one of the booths, and he was excitedly going through getting all the comic book covers and stuff. He's like, I've been a Spider-Man fan since the 60s. This is like everything I've wanted and waited for. And it's perfectly represented. I'm like, wow, one of you exists, and this is the exact product for you. That makes me so happy to know that there's somebody out there who this is for, that is totally like bouncing, like gluing to it the way I bounced off of it. And like, that's sick. Like, I love that.
In my opinion, as I don't know Magic, I'm learning still, but I do know Marvel and the comics they're pulling from, not just the films, the comics they're all pulling from. And I do feel like they do respect that source material quite a lot and explain the characters. Like I keep telling my husband, like, I want to make a Masters of Evil / Thunderbolt set, because they actually made like a Zemo card that works like Zemo in the comics, not the movie Zemo. And I can explain to him like, well, no, if the black version is the one that he connives, but the blue version instead reassembles a character, or it rebrands them as their hero version. Like, that's the difference. Like or how the different versions of the Fantastic Four work differently for how their other characterizations. Like, I can feel like this is a 60s Ben Grimm the Thing versus this is a 80s Ben Grimm the Thing. Like,
did you see that the 4 Fantastic Four characters, the uncommon ones in a set, can do an infinite combo if you have all 4 in play?
Oh yes, yeah. That's my husband has. I have not built by myself a commander deck, but he really helps me with that, and he has built now a thing commander deck that is counters green white, but has those 4.
That's awesome.
Who can do the cycle? Yes,
it's so cool. Like, that was the thing. Like, the lead designer of Magic, Mark Rosewater, is basically a hardcore Marvel otaku in like the truest sense of the word. And so he's like, I have waited my whole life to make a Marvel Magic set, and it's going to be as Marvel as I can possibly make it, which is why there's like all these random deep cuts of things that are like characters nobody but like a true blood would understand. And I was just like, this is wild. I have no idea who any of these people are, except for like the surface level. And but it's like, I just love it when, like, knowing that somebody cared enough to make the characterization right, that somebody who does care can look at it and be like, I get this and I understand why this is here, is what I want to see. Like, I'm a deep Ninja Turtles guy. I love Ninja Turtles going way, way back. And so when I got the Turtle set, everybody was like, this is horrific and terrible. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. This is like dead on. Yeah, this is like exactly what I, a Turtles fan, want to see. Maybe less of the gross pizza, but like otherwise, it's they knew what they were doing, and it feels right, and that's like so hard to do.
Yes, yeah, I think, and I can get it too. Of like, say with the turtles, so many of them. There's just not much variety to what you can do.
Yeah, that was
like,
a problem. They did not have enough material to make a set out of, because they even included a character who appeared in one half of one OVA, like one of the pizza episodes or whatever,
Right.
like the Pizza Hut tapes. And I'm like, okay, you guys are like, I respect you digging deep, but there's a point where you should sit there and go like, maybe we dug too deep.
Yes.
Maybe we don't need to go to the OVAs.
No, I should say Rosewater. I really dig his passion in the, I think when I would watch, my husband would show me like, well, here's the announcement stream for the next Marvel set, or here's him at San Diego Comic-Con doing a giveaway for Spider-Man. And the way he talks about it, I'm like, I understand you. Like, I am 100% on the same wavelength of what he is saying is what I want out of the Marvel cards. So I feel I need to watch the Magic people's videos and viewpoints on it to see why it's frustrating to them, because same with like the number of legendaries in there, for instance. I
it is ridiculous.
Yes. but I talk about this with my husband, who he sees both sides. He knows comics very well too. It's like, well, if it's going to be a named superhero, Captain America is legendary. There's not a lot of soldiers in these worlds. Like, everybody is a distinct personality. And there's even, if I wanted to complain, I could complain that there's like a couple characters like, hey, wait a minute, this character should just be a legendary. This is D-Man, but he is a common, just so it isn't another legendary in the set.
Well, yeah, but that's like random people like Agent Maria Hill. Who the hell is Agent Maria Hill? I don't know.
No, I know. Yeah, I get it. It doesn't but if you are a fan, you'd be like, well, why isn't this character legendary? They should be legendary.
That's fair.
Yes, I understand balance wise, it doesn't make sense as much.
I mean, but for every one of those though, I see like a Kamala Khan, and I'm like, and her card says, you have no maximum hand size. And I just started laughing so hard because I'm like, that's her whole gimmick, is that her hands get gigantic. And I'm like, that is so, like, when they can do that, like, for instance, April O'Neil in the Turtle set, there was one which was like her news van, or like her news crew is running there. And on the card, it's got the ability channel, which is like discard a card from your hand to do some effect. Mm-hmm. But the cost to play it is 6. So when you read it on the card, it's channel 6, which is the news station that she works for. And I'm like, when they made a Chun-Li card and it's got multi-kicker on it. And I'm like, okay, you understood the assignment. Yeah. I respect it.
I love that about it. Yes, that was, it was something like in Snap, it slightly bothered me at first, and it's one of the few things I didn't like in Snap that they then fixed. I played Snap for like 3 years straight, but it was that, say, the Fantastic Four characters, their original versions did not work together. You could make a set, but you couldn't make your FF set would not be good. And then when the movie came out last year, then they did new versions of all 4 of them that did interact like wonderfully. And it felt that's what I love in Magic. It feels like they always do, or all the versions I've seen of the Marvel characters, like the Avengers work together like Avengers should. Cap, his ability to untap, working with the hero one, like tap to
all of the teamwork guys.
All the teamwork guys, like that is exactly Cap. That Iron Man is an equipment guy who constantly is summoning equipment and putting it on people. Like it's just or that Thor comes in and anything that like zaps that is a magic spell pumps him up like double, like that. I love all that stuff. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a really good job with. I thought it was really funny when Mjolnir's got equip worthy, because only the worthy can pick it up, and I'm like, that's cute. But like, it's also funny when like Magic fans are like, oh, so you're meaning this horrific villain who is white and red can also pick up Mjolnir?
Yes, I know. Yeah, it's but the Marvel ones, but yes, there are what pulled me in. But I have played like the pre-releases for I did Avatar and I did Turtles, and I did do, I should say, I'm not all Universe Beyond. I did do a Lorwyn blind, or the draft. I did a draft for Lorwyn, which I did like Lorwyn, and I also loved how the promotion of Lorwyn with Jim Henson,
the Muppets,
like it
yes,
ruled. Like yes, it ruled. Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny. Like they went and they hired Jim Henson to make these two puppets for Lorwyn because they're like goblins and they're like, oh, we'll use labyrinthy type of things. And they ended up being so popular that they've brought them back for every subsequent set to just make clips. And I think it's so, like yesterday as a recording, they posted one where they had Iman, the girl who plays Kamala Khan, interact with the Muppets to reveal like a Kamala Khan card. And I'm like, see, like she's already a Muppet by herself. So having it's just so delightful. Like their marketing team has figured it out. But I'm just thinking about the fact that since you've started, it's been almost more Universe Beyond than in-universe sets. Like there's been Edge of Eternity, Lorwyn, and Strixhaven, and then the rest have all been UB stuff, which is kind of wild. That's like you've never experienced Magic.
Budget-wise, I don't know how. Honestly, I also am like, how do you keep up with every set? Like this seems like just money-wise. Yes,
that's a difficult and sensitive question for some people. Yes, like for me, it's like if it wasn't my job, I probably wouldn't. But
no, I understand. Like you do have to skip some sometimes. I get that too. Like I couldn't buy every comic book. I don't buy every video game. Like these things.
Yeah, but it's weird because like Magic fans are not used to that. For a long time, we had 4 sets a year and you could budget around that and you'd be like, great, I get everything. Then they'd be like, here's a 4th set and a supplement. Okay, cool, I can do that. Here's like 7 sets a year. Okay, I'm having trouble now. Here's 7 sets a year plus like 4 supplements and 65 secret layers. I'm like,
yeah, no, and I bought the Garfield and Odie secret layer. Like,
I mean, so did I. Like my son loves Garfield.
But yeah, and I wanted a cat dog. My husband's like, I can make you a cat dog commander with these guys. Like, so
that's so funny.
Yeah, no, but it is a danger. I do think for not to talk about like a business I barely know, but it does seem like a danger to start telling your audience like, well, you can skip some, or making them feel like they kind of have to, like that. You wouldn't want to train a dedicated audience like that.
It's funny because I wrote an essay to that effect last year where they were like, yeah, look, you don't have to buy every set. Not every set's for every player. And I'm like, we're Commander players. Commander players play every card that's ever been printed. So yes, every set is for us. But also, if you train your consumers that, okay, you don't need to buy every set, then eventually they're going to be like, I don't need to buy any set, right? At some point, they're going to be like, oh, I'll skip this set, I'll skip this set. And then they'll just be like, I'm just playing like, Warcraft now or something, right? Like I've just found a different hobby.
Yeah.
And that's a danger.
It is. I hope that they... I understand that pull on it too. It's like that it Magic. Well, the thing is, like, there for me as a Marvel fan in this example, or of the other universes beyond, I'm looking forward to Star Trek. But I know that Marvel's had multiple collectible card games before this, but I wasn't pulled into them. Like there is something about it taking advantage of the gameplay and history of Magic. Pulled me in more than just like, well, this is a brand new thing with a whole body. Like I need that to pull me in, like Star Trek coming soon. There's been tons of Star Trek board games.
Yeah, there's been tons of Final Fantasy CCGs, and Star Trek, Lord of the Rings has famous CCGs. The Star Trek CCG was terrible though, man. Like, but like the thing is like, the thing is the underlying system of Magic is so good and the game engine is so good that you can put any sticker on top of it and it will still play really well. And I think that's what Wizards is counting on, that like, hey, by the way, at the end of the day, because one thing that I've from being my position in the community and having talked to people and stuff, it's like all of the emotions come when you're seeing the preview or you're seeing the cards out of context. When they're in your deck, you're only looking at the bottom half of the card with the rules and seeing how these two things fit together. You don't care that it's Doctor Doom and Sonic the Hedgehog are like, riding on the, like, whatever the Enterprise. Like, it doesn't matter. Are you winning? And is it making more things for your engine to go? That's the thing that actually thematically people care about.
I do really like, my husband has shown me too, when the Magic cards can a Marvel one, for instance, can call back to a classic Marvel card.
Yes.
A Magic card, a classic Magic card. Like those, there's God, it's the the fans are gonna be screaming.
It's fine.
Okay,
there's
so
700 cards. Nobody knows them all. It's fine.
I believe it's in the Doom Commander set. It's a classic card of spend 1 black to get 3 black.
Dark Ritual.
Dark Ritual. And my husband shows me, I go, okay, here's how the Doctor Doom looks in the Dark Ritual card. Now here's like a classic Dark Ritual card. You see how it's like a visual reference to it, I love cool stuff like that in the history.
Yeah. Or like, for instance, there was a counterspell in the Avatar set called "It'll Quench Ya," which is a famous phrase from the Avatar show. It's like, "It'll quench ya." Well, the card that they made was literal quench, which is like an actual card, which is an old counterspell that says like, if you don't like pay 2 mana, you'll counter this spell or something. And getting that throwback that both fits Avatar and the Magic is like one of those things that's just like, that's clean. Or like Sokka's haiku, which was just written as a haiku.
I love
and I
that
was like,
one
that's
too,
so clever.
Yeah, that's or my husband also explained to me the light troll of the joke in the Garfield set. That one of them is called Garfield as intended. Like
because of Richard Garfield, who is literally like, when we say like, yes, you're playing Magic as Garfield intended, is like just like almost an ironic joke at this point of like, haha, you're doing something very bizarre and strange. And if you look at the original Magic set, it was like there were cards that would do things like split your table in half and put the Raging River in the middle. You can either block on the left or the right, and you're like, the first set of Magic was like, we don't know what this game is going to be, so I'm going to make every game and put them in here. Like the Chaos Orb, a card you flip from a foot away has to spin over, and whatever cards it touches on the table get like destroyed. It's like that sucks, and don't do that. And he's like, okay, we're going to stop doing that, but it exists and it's weird, and it's like, what?
I like that it has a fun history that can go back that far. Like it's the same thing. I that kind of shared history I do love in Marvel or Star Trek as well. I like when it can, and I love when they can cross over. And like, this is a card that represents like a 1994 Spider-Man comic and like a 1997 Magic card,
Right? Yeah, I think that's super sick. Like, I love those bonus sheets where they have like here's a card from the comic and here's like a representation. Like, Path to Exile is a great one. Or like Final Fantasy had a bunch of those really cool cards that were just like iconic images from the game superimposed over card from the game. I don't know. I think those are like the moments I really enjoy.
And now I've done it enough to be like, okay, what we're actually like, my husband and I will talk about like, what do you think the command tower for Star Trek is going to be? Or what do you think the Soul Ring?
What is the command tower for Star Trek going to be? What would that even be?
It could, Borg Cube
would
seems
it be the
too
bridge
evil for it. The bridge, that is, or it could be it's usually like a building, right? So it could be, the San Francisco base of Federation. They could try that.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, what the hell could that be? Like, they're not going to use like Deep Space Nine itself as your command tower. That could be it. It's a spaceship. But that would be weird. God. Wow, what would the Soul Ring for Star Trek look like?
Those are the fun. Same with like in the Marvel set to see. Oh, this is the Soul Ring for Marvel, or for the Avengers Soul Ring.
Yeah,
for instance. Yeah.
Right, like the Avengers badge or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I was gonna be like, oh, you can just make like Captain America's shield into your Soul Ring, but no, they've got like 38 Captain America shield cards. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Doctor Doom Soul Ring being like the weird portal is really cool, or the Fantastic Four logo. And I guess they did like Iron Man's little like thingy, his Energon cube.
Yeah, the repulsor. Yes, his.
Thank you. I've watched all these movies. I know.
I think. Well, another thing you mentioned the Avatar in Star Trek. That a funny thing too for me. I don't know if others can identify with this, but like I had not finished seeing all of Avatar. Like I'd watched half of the series. My husband had seen it all, and then he's like, well, ahead of Avatar coming out, let's finish watching the show. And now we're on the other side of it, where I grew up watching all of that era of Star Trek, TNG, Deep Space Nine, and even Little Voyager. And so with Star Trek coming out now, this whole year we've been watching TNG together. He'd never seen it before, so he can appreciate the cards better too, I think.
That's yeah. I mean, that was the thing. Like when Avatar was coming out, a lot of people who had like there were people who were like, I grew up with Avatar, I've seen it all, and then there were people like, I have no idea what the hell this is, but it's on Netflix, so they all fired up and everybody started watching. They're like, wow, this is really good. Like I watched it because my wife and son were watching through it, so I've seen all of Avatar vaguely in passing. But like yesterday, my wife is watching the live action because season 2 of the live action on Netflix comes on, and there's this big owl dude come by, and I'm like, oh, that's Wan Shi Tong. I know who that is. And I'm like, because the magic card told me who this guy is, so now I know. I think it's been a really good way to explore both the property and the game from depending on which perspective you're starting from. It's like folks really bitch about this a lot, but I honestly think the Universe Beyond has done such a good job of bringing people into the game, showing them the underlying game engine, and then they stick around and play, but also giving us who are hardcores like a reason to be like, I've never played a Fallout game. Let me see what that's like. Or let me watch Doctor Who and see what that's like. And I mean, Doctor Who didn't stick with me. I get it. But like, you know, like Warhammer, which is like some of the best decks they've ever made. And I'm like, oh, all the Warhammer fans like, aha, I know exactly who this character is and what this miniature is. I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe there's something to be said about this. It's kind of neat.
I could feel it when I went to MagicCon for the first time last year. My husband went this year, but I went to
which one did you go to?
The Vegas one last year with all the FF stuff around it.
Oh, the only MagicCon I've missed.
Oh, it was pretty great to pose with, like, they set up the flower bed where Eris dies, and you can pose there for it. So that was a lot of fun, and I mainly was in like support of my husband there, and it started a thing. My husband, one of his favorite things now, it's not just collecting the cards. He is really into getting artist signatures now on the cards. Like that's very, very big for him. He just Kieran Yanner, I think, is one of his favorites. I think
Kieran Yanner is amazing,
especially the gay. Honestly, also the queer aspect to it too. I think is a lot of fun for us as well. He's about to he's even started getting into the artist proof game, which I have learned about. His next commission one, he's hoping to get an artist proof on Kieran Yanner's Demonic Tutor, the recent one that's like gayer, like the M for M one of it. Yes. Yeah.
So you spend a lot of time waiting in lines for artists?
A little bit. That is a plan this weekend, even too, I should say. Well, you know, another thing that does probably helped is that I moved from the Bay Area to Seattle area recently, and like this is like
that's where all the Magic players are.
We were standing in line to buy our Switch 2 at Best Buy behind people who work at Wizards, and like my husband could complain to their faces about like, why Squall suck? You should have made Squall better. He's cost too much.
Squall does suck, by the way. It's like I was more mad that Final Fantasy 12 got such short shrift. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Balthier doesn't even get his own card. Come on, man. Like I was genuinely pissed off. And where's my Final Fantasy Tactics, Wizards? I know you're listening. Yes. Where's my tactics? And also we have mocks, like 3 moxes within like a train ride, so it's also pretty. We're spoiled for choice here. Yeah, okay, buddy, rub it in. Yeah, like I know I go to Seattle quite a bit because I've just got so many friends there, and it really is it's a great place if you want to just find nerds to game with. Like surprisingly, yeah. Or are you going to the Command Fest in Tacoma?
Is that the thing that's July 4th weekend? Is that
yes?
Yes, yeah. That's our plan this weekend. Yes. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, because like I these days I only go to the MagicCons because if I try to go to everything, then my family will get very upset. But yeah, the Command Fests are super fun, and they're much. You know what's and like this is a complaint that's not going to matter to anybody, but I'm just going to make it to someone. Like. I am traveling all summer. I've got so many things because of the various obligations I have. And one weekend I'm going to be in Toronto doing a wedding. And that weekend, there's literally going to be a Magic tournament here in the Bay Area, like 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, wow.
In the same city. And all these artists are coming and everything. And I'm like, the one time they do one here, and I'm literally on the other side of the damn continent. Come on. It's real teeth grating. But yeah, like, also, Magic has been doubling down on gay cards and trans cards and stuff. It's great to see.
No, I love the queer content to it as well. Like the one my husband has the match for the bears in the bears in the hot spring. Like
yes, that was everybody was very surprised to see that, but then they're like, that's a real sick card, man. That's like that was like, I think one of the Pride, that was like for Pride, they did like Bearscape or something like that. It was like, they remade it with a bunch of like just bears, but the other kind of bears sitting in and enjoying themselves at like camp. And I'm like, that's gay as hell, man. I respect it.
I really do love it. At Mox and other, card shops around here, like they are very inclusive in this area. Like it's tons of LGBTQ people playing and behind the counter there. It's something I really felt very welcoming to it as well. When I, could remember back to like fandom in the past, not as much being.
I mean, at MagicCon this summer, they were selling pins that were like the Magic symbol with the trans logo, with the trans flag colors, or like, the trans pride pins and stuff. I'm like, good support. Like, because after pandemic, like during lockdown, the game expanded immensely. And for whatever reason, a huge number of trans folks started playing like Commander and CDH really, really hardcore. And in that 5-year span, it has become such an like especially when you're online in online spaces and stuff, it is such a trans friendly community. And like the game is like, okay, like some games would be like, oh, we don't want any of that. But Magic's like, all right, we're going to double down. These are our people. These are who are playing our games. We're here for it. And I think that is deeply respectable and really cool.
No, I really, you can see it at least in my local areas, or also when I went to Portland and played in a couple games on a visit to Portland. Like I noticed, like, oh yeah, this seems very, very welcoming. In especially that there were a lot of trans and gay players there.
And like, especially like when you even look at the designers, that's like, it's coming from inside the building, dog. Like they're all trans and gay in there. It's just, this is what it is. And that's fine. That's awesome. I love that.
Yes. Yeah.
But man, it's cool. I'm glad you have found something that is like both giving you like an into this game, but is also like respecting the thing that you appreciate. Like, because it could have been way worse if they just made like crappy Marvel cards, right? Like,
I'd have just bounced off. It would have been like the fourth failure on my husband would just have to be like, I guess you're just not going to play Magic with me like this thing. Like, but it has had the opposite effect. Like I am, especially now Arena. I love that the Marvel cards are now just in Arena now. I mainly
God, can you imagine?
I mainly have been playing like my first deck in there was Tifa Landfall. I had a Tifa Landfall.
Yes, that deck is awesome.
And then I had Is It Lessons from with Avatar guys in it, a bunch of lesson stuff. And right now I've been doing a lot of Demir Superior Spider-Man. That's
that deck was so cool when it won the Pro Tour. And it's just like, oh, he just shows up on turn 4 and suddenly now I'm a gigantic demon. GG's PO. It's like, what the hell?
And Arena has also been very helpful to me as somebody who had trouble learning the rules, and still, especially in pre-release, I often have to go like, okay, wait, untap. Okay, then that. And like and people are super understanding. I'll say that too. Everybody has been, I haven't played with a jerk player yet, but occasionally I will have lost a match. And then after the match is over, the guy says, well, this enchantment could counter that enchantment. It doesn't just like hold creatures. I'd be like, oh, I'm so used to Arena will tell me if I can do something. Like the blue outline comes around a card. It's like, you can use this now. Like it always tells me that. It kind of makes it I get so spoiled by that maybe that I just I forget all the things I can do in a given moment.
I mean, that is one of the things that Arena is the best way that Magic has found to introduce people how to play the game, because it does such a good job of teaching you the rules and showing you the way you can do it and what sort, like, you learn a lot of things. Like, even I learned, like, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize this interaction worked this way until Arena was like, hey, these two cards will go together. And I'm like, what? And, but it also, it does make it a little easy to get lazy in terms of things like your life or remembering all of your triggers and stuff, because they're not going to be the machine to just, like, my wife, she'll play Magic with me when we were playing a co-op on the Xbox back when it was Duels of the Planeswalkers, or if we're playing like Jumpstart or something where it's just very easy and very, like, it doesn't have to do deck building and anything like that. And she finds Arena really simple, and because it does all the math. Yes. And like, she can do it, but she would rather just have the life stuff just handled by this thing so that we don't have to, like, and I'm like, that's so good and useful. But like, it does mean that when you play in paper, sometimes you can get a little slippy with like shortcuts and with forgetting what you're supposed to be doing. But you know what, though? I don't care, man. Accessibility is really important to me. And like, one of the things that I always tell naysayers is like, look, dude, Magic is a game that requires minimum 2 players. And at some point, we're going to run out of players. So if we're not bringing new people in, there's going to be nobody for you to lord over. So maybe chill and let's enjoy and, celebrate these people however they find the game, because it'll be fun.
Totally. Yes.
Do you play a lot of Commander?
I have.
Or some?
I've played some, and it is because my husband's favorite way to play is Commander, I think. And he loves building. I think he just loves the building of just a deck. And like, it's almost like how you hear about guys with classic cars or whatever. It's like, okay, well, you know what? I could make some more changes to my new Norman Osborn Grixis, for instance. Like, I'll keep playing around with that. Like, that's part of the fun for him. But also, this is something I heard somebody else use this example, like that they prefer standard to another person prefers standard to Commander because they like math, not the social politics. But my husband loves the I've told him like he loves those party games of like Mafia or Werewolf of like lie to your friends much more than I do.
God.
And that's something that I think is the extra key to make it more of a Commander player than other styles. Yeah.
Yeah. Commander is a social game and not a competitive game. It's more about, we are all here to hang out and we're also playing Commander. But like, I mean, I love Commander. I helped run it for many years. I know how this works.
Yeah, well, I should say that was yes. I should be bigging up more of like what a big deal. I also got to just have this moment of early in learning about Magic, and my husband showing me all these videos on history of Magic or explain how to play or easy ins, like. Just you appear in a picture with a major person in it. I was like, oh wait, that's Shivam. I know him. And my husband is like, wait, you know him? Like, yeah, we've known him for like years. He's been on my podcast, and we follow each other on social media. And same with I've never met her in person, but Emma Parlow. Like, when she's followed me on, and now we finally follow each other in Blue Sky. But we were Twitter.
She's a huge Simpsons nerd.
And when she popped up in another video, I said to my husband too, like, oh, hey, that's Emma. And he's like, what? Like, so it just, I felt a bit embarrassed that I didn't know what a big wheel at the Magic Factory you were, to paraphrase.
I don't like to toot my own horn because that gets a little arrogant sometimes, but, they listen to me. So it's funny. Like, if you look at the professor's channel, like the number 1 or 2 video he has, I'm in. And I played in a game where it's like got over 1 million views plus on that thing. So when I was in England last summer, I stopped at a random Tesco to go to the gas station to get gas and to buy some waters. I walk inside and there's a dude at the register who's just hanging out, and I stop and I'm like, I get my water and I turn around, I'm like, oh, is this the north of England? And he's like, oh, no, sir, this is the West Midlands. And I'm like, oh, I'm an American. I had no idea. He's like, I know, I watch you all the time. And I'm like, what the hell?
That is awesome. I realized, yes, I understand. I was like, I think he like, if because I didn't know the world. If they like, oh, you know him, like, yeah, I think he like plays Magic some too or something. I think. So I apologize. I did.
That's so funny. But I mean, it's like me and the prof, like we came up at the same store here in the Bay. We hung out. We started playing Magic. We came back to Magic at the same time. Like he even used to be a community. Like I've known him for a very long time. And like people are like, oh, you know the professor? And I'm like, yeah, because we've been friends for decades, right? Like it's just like, that's not like, I knew him when he was an actual professor, right? Like, oh man.
No, that's great.
Yeah, but man, this has been great. It's been cool talking to you. And honestly, I didn't realize you were such a Marvel fan, because that's like perfect. Like, because I've been looking to talk to somebody who's like, I like this set and I get what's going on. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
No, yeah, I'm glad I can give that perspective, and that we got that I was able to talk about Simpsons at least a little bit up front. Just people know what but yes, I'm a huge nerd for all that stuff. I hope seemingly they're working with Disney, so who knows? There could even be a Simpsons. I would bet a Simpsons, Secret Lair at least has to come.
I would definitely see a Simpsons, because Rosewater in the olden days, when he was talking about like the color pie and like what each color represents, his original the original way he explained it was The Simpsons. So like Bart is black because he's selfish and doing all the things. Homer is red because he's a chaos engine and just kind of going all over. Obviously Lisa is the white one because she's law abiding and super like focused and everything. Marge was the blue one because she was definitely like trying to intellectualize and trying to deal with all this stuff that's going on. And Maggie is green because she is just dealing with nature and being a child and trying to explore what the world is.
Wow, that's so cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, like it was because there's 5 of them. So it just made sense to be able to go around the colors.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. Well, if folks wanted to hear your shows or anything, where could they go?
Oh, well, thanks again for having me. And me and Bob Mackey, we have been doing the Talking Simpsons podcast for 11 years now.
Goodness gracious.
And, yes, yes, Shivam, you've been on a couple of those best. We need to have you back on. This reminds me
too. Yeah, dude, I would love to.
And we also did have you on our sister podcast, which we do a couple times a month, called What a Cartoon, where we talked about Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball. We did that one with you in the archives.
That was so fun.
Yeah, we love to talk about, basically we love to talk about The Simpsons and the history of it, and take one episode at a time in chronological order. Right now we're doing season 16, but we also went back to redo season 6. We basically kind of are ping-ponging each week between 10 years separating it. And there's still a ton of fun stuff to talk about in season 16. And then the What a Cartoon podcast, we talk about general animation history in there too. It's anime, it's Disney, it's Pixar, it's a wide range of things. So find Talking Simpsons and What a Cartoon wherever you listen to podcasts. And we do ad-free podcasts and bonuses of us talking about Futurama and King of the Hill and lots of other stuff. That's on our Patreon at patreon.com/Talking Simpsons.
Man, I am a huge fan of your show. And obviously, like Bob has been like, he was a coworker of mine back in the ancient days when we were game journalists. And like, I've been on 1,000,001 Retronauts with him. And I don't know, I've been a big fan of you guys since forever. And we've been friends for even longer than that. So I was just really happy that you were able to come on. But yeah, folks, if you want to find me, you can find me at Shivam Bhatt on Blue Sky, or you can find me on YouTube every Tuesday, thanks to my editor, Dan. You can also hear me on the Shivam and Wheeler Love Magic podcast, or on the Chronicles of Dragonlance. And remember, my friends, it's not magic without the gathering, and we'll see you next time.